Hello world. Today I am going to attempt to explain my opinion in immortality. And if I say attempt, it is because it is possible that I will interrupt this broadcast if I have an allergy attack. So let's just dive into this, and I'm going to speak as fast as I can, just in case I got a bail due to my incessant sneezing, which is imminent. So, immortality. Do I find that appealing? Yes or no? The answer is a little more complicated than I thought. So, therefore, I am going to dwell on both aspects of it. The yay, I find it appealing, and nay, I don't find it appealing. And I find it appealing because there is so much stuff to do in this world and in this planet, and so much stuff to try and discover and just experiment and all that good stuff. So I'm thinking just one single mortal life is not enough, and I feel like it's a bummer that we don't get to experience the things that I think we are meant to be able to experience in a lifetime. Some people's circumstances are different. There's the aspect of um, some stuff you just cannot do because um, your say everything works because of money. Like you need to have money to do certain things. So what if it takes you a long ass time for you to get your finances together to be able to indulge in certain activities? And then there's also the curiosity of what my kids' lives would be like. How many kids are they gonna have? And then is it just me who's immortal or all of civilization? And then what are their kids going to look like? And stuff like that. That's something that I would like to see because I always found that just intriguing, just because I look and act and have a certain type of opinion doesn't mean that my offspring are going to feel the same way or look the same way and all that good stuff. I just want to see things, just experience other people's lives and the differences and just admire those differences and all that stuff. Then there's also the aspect of where are we as a society headed to? Do we finally inhabit other planets? Do we finally come up with a new biscuit recipe for me to try that I just had no idea how to come up with, and therefore my time was up and I will never get to experience that again? How is a certain saga going to end? Like, this Marvel stuff is going on forever. I like that stuff. I would like to know what the conclusion is, if there ever is one. And I know that this is just a work of fiction, but when I put it into words, I like to see where people's imagination goes with a story. And then I guess that's pretty basic and straightforward, but right off the top of my head, that's the stuff that comes immediately that I would find appealing about immortality. Now, here comes the negatives, and this is where it can get messy. If you are born a disabled person, are you permanently disabled? Or are you going to be able to recover from this thing? Let's say 500 years from now, we have a solution to whatever disability it is that you experience. It took forever, but at least, if you have trouble seeing, you're going to be able to see. It only takes 500 years for us to come up with the solution for that. Um, if you are someone who was born male, like, are you okay with that? Or would you rather try to have an opportunity at dying and then come back to life, assuming that revival or, sorry, reincarnation is real, and then you have a chance at coming back as female? You're going to be stuck a guy forever. And as far as I know, let's not turn this into a political topic, so I'm gonna pick my words carefully, but most people are happy with how they are born. So, are you really going to stick with that forever? And then there's also the part of For the folks who are not happy with the way they were born, you can attempt to change certain stuff about you. And then if you are happy with the way that you're born, but you would like to have a crack at being different, would you? Would you submit yourself to surgery to change that while you are immortal? And then if something goes wrong during surgery, how long would it take to repair that? Would you be okay with being damaged permanently? Or does immortality mean that you cannot be harmed? That's the tricky part about immortality for me because if you're going to be alive for so long, something is going to happen to you. And that does not mean that you have regenerative powers. That does not mean that you're going to be uh, physically capable forever. I would imagine that at some point, your body has to have a limit. So, for me to imagine immortality, I would have to look at it as I'm going to be stuck in my 20s forever. But at the same time, if you obtain immortality at a certain age, and that's the age and abilities that you're stuck with forever, then how appealing is that? Like if I get immortal, if I become immortal at 80 years old, I'm going to be an 80-year-old lady. What is it going to be for me? You know? So that's why I'm just saying I need to figure out how this immortality stuff would work, especially the age factor. Aging is something that eventually causes everyone's downfall. Like everyone's body at some point will fail because that's how we are designed. Like at a certain age, some people are going to decline faster than others, etc., etc. So how do I consider this in an immortality fashion? I cannot just pretend it's not there. Something has to happen. And say if I get in a car wreck and I end up busted, am I going to be permanently busted? Because I would not like to be immortal but be in bed forever because I cannot move from how broken I got. See what I mean? So when it comes to immortality, I guess if it guarantees that I'll have like regenerative powers and junk, then I mean, okay, cool. And that I'll be young forever, then okay, cool. But at the same time, it's hard to tell really because we don't know for sure what happens after you die. What is the purpose of dying? Like, well, I know the purpose of dying, but in a situation like this, if you're going to be alive forever, like what's the point of death on everyone else? And if we are all going to be immortal, that means reproduction is endless. And then we're going to keep bringing babies into the planet, but they're not dying. Nobody's dying. So we're going to have to inhabit other places. Does immortality mean that we can just automatically live anywhere? Nothing can kill you. I know that's what immortality means, but how does your body adapt to other elements? Like if we decided to go to like freaking Mars, are we designed to withstand that? Or are we going to be permanently like set ablaze or permanently frozen because we can survive it, we can be alive, but our flesh and bones are not designed to be in that type of environment. See what I mean? So you will be permanently stuck in that state. And if somehow we can get you back to be like thawed out or I don't know, condense yourself again if you ended up being turned into like vapor, then I'm just saying I need to figure out how does this work? What kind of shape am I having? Because if I'm going to be a person, I have no interest in going to space if I know that the sun is going to be cooking me. It cannot kill me, but it can cook me real good, and I'm going to feel that, but I'm not going to die from it. See what I mean? It's tricky. It's really tricky. Let me see what you guys are saying. Like extinction factor, then you're not. But as an individual, What happens when you die? That's what I want to know. All this stuff about consciousness and your spirit and all that, where does that come from? What happens to it? And that's what I need to figure out. And that's why this topic is so difficult for me. Because if I had an answer for that, a definitive answer for that, and not just speculation, I would be better about it. But it's just weird. I'm just glad it's something that I don't have to worry about, you know? Let's see. I always thought if I was the sole immortal on the planet, I would have my fun until life got depressing, then wait for a cure to being a cripple. There is more to life than this short time we know on Earth exactly. After that, I would learn like all the martial arts and just be a hermit in the mountains somewhere and spread stories about me so people wonder if I exist or not. Hey, beautiful, I feel like I have been here before. Oh, I have read of stories about people who seem to remember being a different person. Like they lived this life before. And like there was this boy who apparently remembered that he was killed by a bomb or something. And he was like, yeah, I got killed right here. And then there's the story of this lady who supposedly uh, painted something in the back of the mom's head or something. And then that mom, while she was dying, she said, I want to come back as a boy. And then the girl ended up having a boy baby. And then it ended up being born with that birthmark, supposedly in the same spot that they had painted it on the mom. Some crazy shit. I wish I remember the name of it. Do I believe in that? I'm a skeptic when it comes to that because I don't want to invalidate someone's story, especially if they're not present for me to confront them and for them to defend themselves. But I do believe in reincarnation one way or the other. But because I don't have the answer to the question of what happens with consciousness and where does it come from, and does it really float around in spirit form like people describe, then I don't know. Because the body is just a lot of chemical reactions. But behavior, not necessarily. I swear, I don't. The more I talk about this, the more I find reasons to shoot down my own opinion. You know what I mean? Because, okay, some processes do happen because of chemical reactions, But at the same time, there's the complexity of the mind and you having emotions and you processing all that stuff. And that in turn affects your decision making and even your body's development. Because apparently, if you feel fucked in the head, you will feel fucked physically. So, you know, I don't know, guys. I would not want to be immortal. Like, at some point, I'll try to do the best I can with this life, and hopefully, I can reincarnate in a different country, maybe a different gender. I'm not sure if I'm interested in being a guy, but I'm open to new experiences within reason. But I feel like I would get tired of being alive at some point because um, when do you rest? I feel like everything is a cycle. So some stuff has to come to a conclusion in order for other things to have an opportunity to take place. See what I mean? So I don't know. I have to think about this again and maybe I'll revisit this video with a more or this topic with a more definitive answer. But if dying means to be permanently nothing, just darkness, just you cease to exist, you cease to function, that's it, then yeah, I would like to be immortal. But if there is an opportunity for you to come back as something different and maybe there is like another wall, another dimension to life that we don't know of. Like, did you? For any of you guys who are gamers, if you ever played Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, I like Wolf Link's sense of smell or whatever to where he can see other spirits and shit. I forget what the plot in that game is, but I like that because it showed what I imagine life after death is like. You can see other people's activities, but they cannot see you. It's like there is this other realm that we don't know about and we cannot visit, but other those people in that realm know about us and they watch us. See what I mean? So yeah, if there is such a thing, then I don't mind dying. But if you were to completely just black out permanently, then yeah, I would be afraid of death in that case. Oh, fuck my allergies. I hate them. I have runny nose from hell. It's gross. Let's see. Where did I leave that? Hey, 80-year-old ladies are awesome. Don't be dissing on them 80-year-old ladies. There's a lot of planets out there for the babies. See, that's the thing. Would we even have the technology developed already to be making such a move? You know what I'm saying? So I know we will have plenty of time to figure this out, but I don't know. See, death is a balance. It brings balance. So if we get rid of one side of the balance, what happens? It cannot be just flowers and dandelions. There's going to be some gruesome shit going on. That's what I want to know. We could terraform Mars, give it an atmosphere, or just simply create habitants on Mars or in Mars orbit where people can live. If we have an eternity, we can solve any problem and thrive. Well, that's the thing. If we are all immortal, where is this technology? It does not simply overnight just happen. So by the time we develop that stuff, the planet will be overpopulated. And that's what I'm worried about. You know, that's where the bloodshed is really gonna come. I always figured immortality just meant you couldn't die from natural causes, but could still be killed and die from injury. Really? Oh. Well, in that case, then, I guess I should call this if you could not die for any reason. Like, if you could be indestructible. How's that? Then, yeah. Immortality is to live your life doing good things and leaving your mark behind. My grandmother is immortal in my mind thoughts. She lives one life, just live it to do good. That too, that's why they say, I forget how the phrase goes, but they say people live on in memories and, my memories and my thoughts, etc., etc. I see that. But how about literally living forever? It's good to keep stuff alive, in your mind and with your habits and stuff, but keeping legacies going. But how about if you could actually physically be the one carrying it on, I know what happens when we die. We're all immortal. If you feel you have a spirit or soul, then in a way we do live forever, or can soul die, or is it just levels of consciousness frequencies? Good question. I don't think you get tired of eternity. Here's the best way I can explain it to people when I talk about this, and funny enough, I always use YouTube as an example. Everyone makes their own YouTube channel creating content of all types. Now you create YouTube content too to appreciate, enjoy, and talk about. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I have always thought about that. I'm like, there is so much music out there that I know I will not get to listen to in my lifetime. There is so much content in the internet that I wish I could learn more languages to understand and appreciate and process. So indeed, there's no way to really be tired of being alive forever because each individual can come up with unique individual things, and it's pretty much, I like to say, impossible to exploit every possibility out there when it comes to what can be created, shaped, formed, yada yada yada. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. I like the idea of being able to look at YouTube forever and see what people will put out and my favorite musicians. What kind of music will they keep making for the next 100 years? Have eternal space in my freaking iPhone, but no. There is the belief that we're all the same being experiencing every life one after the other. I don't think I believe that, but it's an interesting thought. It is interesting, but I don't think I can accept that. So more content is always being created. More content is always being created than that a single person can consume. Meanwhile, you are also creating new content, contributing to the things to appreciate, learn, and enjoy, and talk about, etc. Eternity is awesome. This is a real ass question. LOL. Well, guys, I really don't have anything else to really add to this. I think I have brought up the points, but to finalize this, as appealing as eternity is, having like, I don't know, you guys know that I love relationships and talking about them and junk. I can just imagine being married forever, to the same guy and live our lives truly forever and all that. And it's like, it's cool, what kind of stuff would we experience and all that. But at the same time, yeah, I keep thinking about that balance that life and death just keeps bringing. And I don't know. I don't know. Can't wait to see what else other people have to say about this because I'm done. I am done. Love you as always, Zam. Look forward to talking with you for eternity. I will be here as long as this body allows it. Your allergy, is it pollen, etc.? Yeah, there is just a lot of junk going on in the air. Everyone at my job is also sick. Then we also had a whole month where it was just raining, and then of course anything that was wooden started to rot and junk. So there's been also a lot of construction going on. So every time I drive, um, and I'm somewhere outside, I can see the clouds of dust, and I'm like, this is just not going to help me. Um, and then that stuff collects in my vents too. So even if I were to drive with air conditioner, it's gonna get to me. So at least I don't feel bad because everyone is feeling like this, but it just sucks. So come on, October, November, December, January, February. Those are my months. It's cold, and I normally usually get just one episode of the sniffles and maybe catch a damn cold if I decide to dress like an idiot and not wear enough layers and whatever. But yeah, during the winter, I'm very seldom sick. So yeah, and then there's also the sun, which it looks harmless, but yeah, it can get to me. So I'm gonna put on my sunscreen and I'm gonna go out and buy some food because let me tell y'all a quick story. Yesterday, you know how I put out that video about that cat that I saw? Well, I completely forgot that I had raw meat in the car. So I decided to open the door to my apartment to get a scoop of food for that cat. And then somehow the thought of me having my food vanished. Because what I like to do is, if I'm going to be off on the day before, I like to buy what I'll consume today. So that way I don't have to go out. But of course, I had to end up ruining my plans. So now I have to go out, figure out what I'll eat, and I need as much protein as I can get because today is the day that I go beast mode at the gym lifting. So I need my protein. I need my protein. So yeah, I'm gonna bail on you guys, and I'll let you know how life treats me in another video if I remember or if anything noteworthy happens. Okay, I'm rambling now. All right, guys, have a good weekend. I should be here tomorrow, so yeah, you can count on that. All right, guys, see you soon. Take care.